Look at me, everybody's cool, nothing crazy's happening. All right, everybody say hi. Go for it. I know, they're flipping out. They're used to it. It's 21 Pilots, but I think you guys knew that, right? This is the shark audience.
What's up, guys? Thanks for waiting.
Are you guys freaking out right now? Okay, remember we practiced this. Deep breaths, we're gonna be cool. Thank you guys so much for coming out and talking to our listeners. I'm Ashley, this morning show. Thank you guys so much for coming out again.
Yeah.
We've got some wonderful prepared questions from our very excited listeners, and I hope you guys are cool with taking a few of them.
Absolutely, of course.
We're gonna start with Gabby. Don't mess this up.
All right, guys.
All right, ready? This is how it's done.
I just want to say shout out to Barbara because this was her question. Hey guys, it's Gabby. And I was listening to Trench and I was getting a lot of vibes from the album of different bands. So I was wondering what music you were listening to when making the new record.
I would. None, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was a year of just making music and then sleeping. So there wasn't a lot of listening to other music, but I don't know, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that inspires you or influences you. So I'm not denying any sort of influence from, the world around me or even, I don't know what it would be. It's hard to identify it, but I can't think of anything specifically during that time.
Your answer's nothing.
Thanks, Barbara.
Oh, can I get Layla? Yeah, Layla? I said it right? Sweet. Come on up here, girl.
What inspired you two with choosing animals for Trench, and why is the pet cheetah with Jason Statham?
I've always liked animals. When I was little, there was a show. There's a guy named Marty Stauffer. Does anyone know who that is? Marty Stauffer. It's a big no, huh?
I don't know. What was the show?
Well, he was like the first crocodile hunter guy.
Oh, really?
He was the first guy to ever have a show that was, hey, I'm gonna go in the wilderness and look for animals.
So Steve Irwin's like.
Yeah, but he was like way before Steve Irwin. Anyway, apparently my family was a fan of him, and we had his videos. So I loved animals. I thought that was gonna be it. That was my calling. I was gonna go out in the wilderness, and I was gonna figure out how to survive and become friends with animals. Didn't quite turn out, but I did get to write music, and so kind of taking a metaphor and giving it meaning is also something that I've always loved doing. And so I combine those two loves, and I get to make animals mean something, I guess. And so, why is his name Jason Statham? It's just, I don't know, it's just meant to be.
All right, Michelle, where you at? All right.
Hi. How did you two come up with the handshake, and how long did it take?
It was, I feel like it was like a couple months after we started playing music together. We were in a hotel in Nashville. We were sharing a room with our business manager. And I don't know if we were playing a show in Nashville or what we were doing, but it was probably like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and we were just pretty bored. And so we were like, we should have a handshake. And we worked on it for, actually, I don't even know.
I mean, at least a couple hours.
Yeah, I think like 2 hours or something. And by that time, our business manager was fast asleep, and we woke him up to show him. And
Brad, get up.
Thank God.
What? You gotta see this. It's amazing.
And I think we still have the video of the first time.
Oh yeah, we do.
We ever got it. And in our underwear.
Were we?
I think so.
We probably were.
But so yeah, it was probably like 2011 or 2012, and it took a couple hours to answer your question.
Have you guys released that footage?
No.
It's for later on. Saving that one.
Yeah.
Jonathan. All right.
So I was planning on visiting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, and I was wondering, Columbus is like 2 hours away. What's some cool stuff to do around there in Columbus in the area?
Good question.
Cool. I mean, Columbus is really cool. And especially every time we go back, there's something new and something cool to check out, or like a new restaurant or whatever, a new mall or something. But there's tons of good food. The Short North area is great for food and just kind of like, stuff to do, hang out. And I realized too, if you're from somewhere, it kind of has to do with like the people that you're around and that you grow up with and spend a lot of time with. So our families are there, and friends that we grew up with, that we went to school with, that we hang out with all the time. So we say that Columbus is cool at the time, and it is. But I also realize that we go home and then we just like go to our houses and hang with our siblings or whatever. So you can hang with our siblings. It's fun to do.
Oh, watch out.
Yeah.
You didn't mean it. Bonnie?
What song did you two have the most difficulty writing?
I think the song that the idea for it, I think it was probably the first idea for the record. And then it so happened to be the last song to finish up. So it kind of existed throughout the entire writing process of Trench. There's a song called Bandito, which is also what we named the tour. I feel like it represented that period of writing the record. So that chorus, I had that chorus for a while, and I didn't know what to do with it. I couldn't figure out which direction to take it. And all the while I was writing all these other songs, and I would always come back to Bandito, and I would always get stumped, and then I would go something else, and then come back to it and work on it bit by bit. So that song Bandito, I guess, in a sense, was the most difficult to write, just because it took the longest. But I'm really proud of it because it represents the entire gap of time of writing a record. So yeah, that one.
Nice. Stephanie?
So you guys have a lot of songs in this album, Trench. You have 14 songs. Are there any songs that didn't make it onto this album that would go on to the next? And with that being said, there have been rumors, I guess, in like the Skeleton Clique and the Fathom, that people that like actually like decode like your lyrics and stuff like that. They've been saying that the last song indicates something of like this might be your last album because of the lyrics, Leaving the City, I think it is. So is there any truth to that?
You want to know if this is our last album?
No, not this one, but I guess like the next one. Or,
The next
like,
one's the last
Are
one?
you guys kind of like
Finishing?
not finished or anything like that, but like, do you have the
Tired of each
mentality-
other?
Like, you guys can have really good chemistry. It was
No, I
like-
get your question.
Right.
No, it's a good question. The first part was, what was the first part?
Oh, the songs on the album, are there any of them that didn't
Oh,
make
didn't
onto
make
this
it.
one?
That's
Yeah.
right. Surprisingly, I watched a lot of, behind the scenes of the makings of albums, and a lot of artists, they have this like whiteboard of like 50 songs, and like which ones are gonna make it, and it's always blown my mind. And I've always felt like, man, that's how you write a record. You write a ton of songs, and then you narrow it down, and you pick the best ones, and that's the album. And it's never worked that way for us. I think it's because I'm so critical of the song. By the time you get to the second verse, that it will be thrown out by the time I'll just know. And so at the end of the process, the songs that remain are the only songs on the record. So there are a few ideas that didn't quite get like fully fleshed out. There are some things that I still think have a lot of potential that I didn't dive into and finish. But there are no completed songs that didn't make it because of how the creative process works. By the time I get to the finishing of a song, I've already known that this is the right song, which I guess is helpful. We don't waste a lot of time. And then it's the next record, the last record. No, we don't have any. There's no plan. That just sounds dramatic though. It sounds exciting if I were to say that that's true. That'd be exciting. Yeah.
I'd say maybe.
Maybe.
But you never know.
You never know.
Will you retweet it if she tweets it out?
Will we retweet
You need
it?
the retweet. You need the conspiracy retweet, like the like from one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's some kind of valid, like maybe, not maybe. GIF. Chanel.
Josh did.
Hey, why'd you say his name first?
Like in my
He's cuter.
So I know that you guys don't really collaborate with a whole lot of artists. There was UMac, but I was wondering if you guys ever have plans in the future to collaborate with more artists. I was also thinking specifically Paramore, because you know Josh, you know Haley, with that, or if there's any artists that you want to collaborate with, either like songs or tours, if you guys ever thought about that.
We both get jealous really easily. So if he's singing with somebody, then I get, or if we were like to collaborate with another drummer, then I would get really jealous. And if we were to collaborate with another singer, then I would get really jealous.
Yeah.
He would get jealous. I mean,
We're just a big ball of jealousy.
yeah. So probably not.
I don't know what it is, something about this band that it doesn't really. There's something about it that if you were to let someone else in on a collaborative level, that it would kind of all of a sudden make it real to the world or something. And I feel like a layer of protection for the songs written for this band is important. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I've always felt that once you let someone else in, then it kind of never is the same. And so we've always been super protective of that. We never really felt like we needed any sort of validation by featuring other artists or other famous people on it, because even if a major part of the world has never heard of us before, I mean, looking at you guys, it's like, this is all we really need, so like we're not looking to try to tap into other fan bases or other markets. We're happy, so we don't really need to do that.
We've talked about it before, though. We've discussed like who would be cool and who would work, but then at the same time, I think that we've kind of also landed on that it would have to be kind of just an organic situation. And a lot of times when we see artists collaborating, it sometimes doesn't feel very organic. It's kind of like managers reaching out to managers and trying to get somebody on a track to make it do well on radio or something. I know that's probably not always the case, but I think that we would want it to be like something that just fits naturally, and I don't know if we've really had that exact situation quite yet.
It's funny, that's like twice though that you guys have talked about isolating yourself from outside noise in order to like be in your own sound. As you were making this album, you talked about not listening to any other music. That's
It's so easy. Once you get, something we've learned is once you get to this spot, it's so easy to open yourself up to all the people who want to be a part of it, but we've always been extra critical of their motives. Like, wait, why do you want to be a part of this now? Like, I know you didn't want to before. The only people we can trust is our fans. Everyone else, you always want, not that everyone has a hidden motive, but you never know. You can't really tell. And I think that, like you said, isolation is important to making sure, because creativity is such a sensitive thing. It can be influenced in ways that you don't even realize. One of the examples I use is record, if my mom's friend came up to me and said, "I love your record, I can just press play on the first song and work out to the whole thing." That sounds like a very positive, like, "Oh, thank you." But you'd be surprised, something as simple as a comment like that, when you're writing for a new record, writing new songs, all of a sudden you're just like, "Wait, will Cindy be able to work out to this?" So it's something as simple as that can affect your creative process. Just think about if you were to invite a bunch of different opinions, a bunch of different voices, a lot of outside sources, all of a sudden it's not even you anymore. So yeah, that's something we've always wanted to protect.
All right, good question. Zachary.
What are both of your influences that got you into music?
Well, it's going to be similar to the previous answers, probably. I don't think there's a long list, but I think we both kind of found music sort of on our own. I think for me, I remember it first started, my grandpa would take me to the jazz orchestra downtown in Columbus, and I fell in love with the trumpet. That was the first thing that I kind of was drawn to, and then just kind of switched over to drums. But with drums, it was kind of like, once I figured out how to get all of my limbs to do something different, it became addicting, and it was just like, oh, how else can I improve from here? And it just was fascinating. I think it was a similar situation with Tyler, kind of finding a keyboard and working out chords and figuring everything out on his own. But yeah, we taught ourselves, and obviously, like Tyler said earlier, things around us can affect what that looks like, even if it's like sitting in a movie and hearing the soundtrack, or hearing music in Taco Bell. It's just like, oh, that's cool.
Big influence.
That's a cool soundtrack to my cheesy gordita crunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if there's like one thing in particular or one artist.
Yeah, and neither Josh or I came from particularly musical families, so we were kind of the first in our family that said, "Hey, I want to try music." And, the question is, well, what does that mean? And honestly, at the time, we said, I don't know what that means. I just like this so much. And I just thought of something that I've completely forgotten ever since we've ever gotten that question. There was a moment where, when my parents would take me to the church that we were going to, we had to get there. I was really little. I remember I was really little. And we had to get there early because I liked this particular seat in the church congregation because it was the perfect angle that I could see the percussionist. It just hit me. So I was really little, my dad knew that I have to get to the seat so I can watch the percussionist. And so it's not the guy on the drums, no offense, but it's the guy who's doing like the extra stuff. Like he's got like the
auxiliary.
Auxiliary, yes, he's got the thing, the chimes,
bongo,
and like all this stuff, and you grab this thing and do this, and I was just I couldn't get enough of it. And I must have been like 7 or 8, 6 or 7 or something like that. Maybe that was it. Anyway, we're trying to figure out the answer to that question. We still haven't been able to, but every time we're asked something else, kind of like, oh yeah. So.
Lucia, I said it wrong. Lucia. Practicing.
Right, so I'm Lucia. My question is, well, I saw you guys a couple years ago when you were here, and my favorite song live is Trees. And what is each of your favorite songs to perform live?
Can I before we answer that question, what is your opinion of where we are right now?
What is this
Y'all
called?
the question.
Yeah, what is this, where are we right now?
I mean,
So hold on, we got the jersey.
This is a fan-based
Hold on,
question. Well,
back there.
he works with me.
No,
That's
I
what
want to know what he,
That's
listen,
asking me to
It's
know.
not a fan. It's not.
I'm gonna be the one on stage yelling out this place, so I need
He's
to
asking where are we?
Oh my God, if he messes this up, he's never going
Where are
to
we?
live it. You understand that?
We do the morning show together for our station.
Okay.
We're in Sunrise, so this is like West Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, so I just talked to the promoter,
Okay.
and she said, don't say sunrise.
Say Fort Lauderdale.
So you just said sunrise.
What I'm telling you, well, I answered your question.
Right. Okay.
South
Man,
Florida.
this is
I would
confusing,
say
guys.
South Florida.
So it's the greater Fort Lauderdale area. So like
I don't have that much time. Hello, everyone.
What's up, greater Fort Lauderdale?
Did Tyler
Fort
just
Lauderdale.
shut down Spanish?
South Florida.
You gotta say Fort Lauderdale.
South
You get
Florida.
Florida.
So
South
if I say
Florida.
Fort Lauderdale, you guys wouldn't be mad, right?
No.
And if I said South Florida, you would be like, oh, that's so broad. He doesn't know where he is.
No, South Florida.
Just don't say Miami.
Don't say
Yeah, as
Miami.
long as you don't say Miami, you're good.
Right?
Yeah, no, not Miami.
When you do the AAA show that you guys have coming up, Miami, South Florida covers that, and here in this area, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale covers us. So really, just teach yourself South Florida, and you win all the time.
South Florida? That feels so
It's late.
broad.
You're right.
That's nice. South Florida. I mean,
Copy that, guys.
you could say South Ohio, and that's so many things.
Right. That's right.
What was the question?
What's your favorite
That was
song?
a you. Favorite thing you.
Listen, when I was younger, and pertaining to what Tyler is saying, when I was younger and would see bands get kind of confused about where they were, I would just be like, what the heck, it's not that hard. But when you are in a different place literally every day, it does become difficult.
Well, it's not just that it's hard to know exactly where you are, but there's also there's what's on the map, but then there's culturally
Yeah.
what you guys know yourselves as
Yeah.
that we don't necessarily know because we're not from here, so.
It's honestly one of the most thoughtful questions
Oh.
a band has ever asked its audience, especially here. Guys, we're gonna do a meet.
Oh, wait. We didn't
We
answer
didn't get to his question.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jesus.
We just got
Trees. Cool.
All right, meet and greet. Let's go.
That's the real answer. Trees, you both unanimously agree.
To play live?
Yeah.
I think it changes all the time.
Yeah.
But I think Trees is definitely that's one that we both care about a lot and love playing live. And I think we've talked about it a lot too. It's been the last song that we played for a really long time. And it's kind of at the point of the set where we're just drained, you know, and kind of giving it everything. But when that song starts, it feels like it's like a reset almost, refreshing of energy, and it feels like we're like restarting the show in a way. It's a cool.
And most of the time when we're playing that song, most of the time, you know that the show is ending, and you look back and realize like not anything major went wrong, which is a great feeling. So I always equate that feeling to that song.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that could go wrong, and not.
Let's try and make it to Trees tonight.
Yeah, let's try to make it.